But I think,
Good.
I wasn't as nervous.
yeah,
Excellent.
I wasn't nervous. I wasn't. I was just said, just like they say, just talk. Just talk with it. Don't
yeah,
try to overdo it. Just talk how you feel.
yeah.
Yep. Speaking of just talking, let me ask you both.
Hmm.
Um, do you have the same career goals now that you've completed boot camp that you did when you started boot camp?
Yeah, I will say I do. Yes, yes, I do. Hmm.
Um,
Yes,
yeah, I believe I do as
yes, I
well.
do.
I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get there, to be honest, but I do have the starting of the map, I guess, to get us going,
Hmm.
and maybe more discussion with Marty and my own investigation and research might help me chart that map a little more in detail. So yeah.
Hmm. And I'm gonna, Katrina, I'm actually gonna ask you that question again because I think you realized something. Probably the first week, like the first Wednesday of boot camp, you remembered or you thought about something, and you realized what you really enjoyed doing.
Um, what I really enjoy doing, to be honest, is to be in medical administration and to work in a medical front office doing the intake with the patients and such, because that's my heart. I mean, it really is. Deli manager has been wonderful, but being in the medical field and being in that type of position is what my heart desires to do. I like greeting people. Sometimes you can see people in those manners that are despondent or because of their conditions, and that just enlightens my heart. So that's where that passion has come in at.
Okay. Would you say that the time in boot camp, because our daily hours are 9 to 4, you think that's too long, just right? Was there enough activity to keep you interested? How did you feel about the time, the actual time that you were spending every day?
It was it was great to me because when you have been out of work for a while or such, it gives you that sense of now you know what you're going to be getting back into. It gets you prepared and ready. That was my feelings of it. It prepared me to now I know I got to get up in the mornings. I got to get ready to do a day of work. And really, when I would get through with the class, I would feel like I did a days of work. And so that really puts me back into my set of reality of where I'm getting ready to go. Because this is it. This is just the start of where I'm going to be forthgoing. So I just have to get myself prepared. And that's what it really did for me. It prepared me for a daily 9 to 5, 8 to 4:30, however you want to do it. Your schedule is, but it got me ready.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Good.
I think that the structure of the days was really good as well, in
Hmm.
regards to kind of having that schedule. I know that some days we may have gotten done a little bit earlier because Victor, uh, thought that we had covered what we needed to cover. But I imagine if we had bigger groups, it would take a little more time throughout the day, and it would probably be nice to have a little more exchange with a few other people, maybe two additional people, maybe groups of 4 or 5. But um, what I felt was that I had still had work to do, even though we didn't go to 4 o'clock. So I'd actually uh, be working on things after we got done with our video that were involved with part of the instruction of the day, and trying to do that, and then maybe even doing some at night, because it for me it involves really thinking about, you know how do I want to communicate on these slides, how do I want to communicate on my what is it, the smart goals sheet and
Hmm.
things of that
Yes.
nature,
Yeah.
because it breaks it down into, like, okay, here's what's going to happen in the first 90 days. Here's what's going to happen, 3 months from now, that kind of thing. It's like, well, what do I think I'm going to be in 3 months? Or what do I want to have happen by 3 months? Instead of like, where am I going to be? It's like, what do I actually want to have achieved, and put me in a place that's going to put me on the next step up. So uh, that was what was interesting to me, because uh, doing the interaction throughout the day was great, but having to work a little extra to actually fill up that 4 o'clock time frame.
Mhm.
So there'd be times I take breaks, go outside, enjoy a few things, come back, and then sit back down and work for another hour before I had to fix dinner or something like that.
Okay. Speaking of which, what did you say to your families, as you were going through this?
They seen how exciting I was. They seen how more upbeat I was, how more uplifted I was, and I would tell them the different things that I've learned. Especially when it came to this computer. I was so ecstatic when I would get through with my day, and I tell them I know how to go in and create a slide, and I know what a PDF is and such as that. So that was my excitement. And so that's what, and just the whole class itself, learning how to reformat your resumes and setting up on your goal plans and knowing that you can achieve your goals. And because of the instructor that we had, Victor is just awesome. So it really played a big part in that.
Did you talk about it to your family, Mark?
I talked about a little bit. I kind of showed my wife some of the things we were doing. I'd really like to share some more of it with everyone, as we complete this show. Like, this is what I've been working on, and I really want to keep a lot of the materials referred to them. I've actually created a folder on my computer that says Goodwill Workforce and put everything in there so that I can reference to it, because I know I'm going to probably need it going forward. But it also allows me to share some of that with the people. I know some other people that are, look for work and stuff. So I'm definitely going to try to share this information with them to see if it might be beneficial for them as well to try to get involved.
Excellent. Okay.
Right.
One of the things that was, or one of my favorite parts of the career development course is when I see the teamwork start. And, especially between you and Mark, the teamwork, Mark has a lot of knowledge in computers and technology. And, there were times, I just sat back because you and Mark were working so well together, and Mark was, giving you such good instruction. I was like, what do you need me for? But it's really a joy to see when that happens.
Yeah, it's fun.
It was great. I mean, really, I learned.
Myself and my one other brother that are kind of IT backgrounds. My mom and dad, and my wife even still, some of my kids even still. How do you want to do with this, that? Okay, let's take a step. What have you done? To give me a background, where you started. Paint me a picture. Tell me what you see on your screen. Having the screen share is great. Actually, my younger brother and his wife, they both have technology backgrounds, and they actually put in a thing on my mom and dad's laptop so they can remotely access it, so they can see what's going on. because it's become that critical sometimes that my mom, she got things out of whack, and it's almost easier for them to kind of have her on the phone, and they take control. And they're like, okay, what do you see? What is it you want to change? That kind of thing. And they can have the ability to see the desktop and all this kind of stuff. So I thought that was great that they did that, because it's so easily they hit a button by mistake or something happens, and they're lost again, because like I had everything the way I wanted. So you get used to talking slower. You listen a lot better. You try to listen a lot better. You try to ask appropriate questions. So, it just comes from my experience that, that's how I can try to help Katrina and anybody else. But
Sometimes I need help.
It's like, Mom, what'd you do now, Mom? Okay, tell me what it is. Okay, did
Uh,
you have the notes from before that we wrote down? Yeah. Okay. Could you pull out those notes? Oh, I'm not sure I have those. Let me go check. Okay.
uh,
But
Ah,
it's a because when I talk with him, I was like, Mom, you got a piece of paper, pencil ready?
yeah.
No. Like, go ahead and get a piece of paper and pencil because you might need to write a few things down. And hopefully that reminds them. Because if like you do, if you write it down, you can get back to it. And if you
yes.
try to
Yeah.
get them each of the steps. So I've actually written documentation where you try to put
Yeah.
each individual step.
Yeah.
And it's tedious. But
Yes, it is.
if you don't, then something's not going to work right. And
Right.
you'll see that in instruction guides too. It's like, okay, it's like putting together a bike or whatever. Put this
Yeah.
slide and this slide. We did that with the bed. I was talking to Victor earlier about this. My son finally got his bed that he ordered back in January, delivered like last week or the week before or whatever. But we went over on the weekend to put it together, and we're looking at trying to put it together. We actually put it together a little bit wrong. We had to come up, take it apart. We thought we were close to being toward the end. We had to take it apart and put it back together. Didn't
Well,
quite see the instructions well enough or whatever. But
well, think about talking about things you revisit. Okay, both of you had already had an Indeed account. Okay, uh, Katrina, yours you didn't remember that you had one, and
Sure
when you
did.
started, yeah, when you started to create a new one, it said, "Hey, you already have one." So the things that we did in Indeed. So what do you think about Indeed now? Because especially things like the resume builder and the assessments that you can take.
yeah, there's more in there than I even knew was available because I hadn't really investigated other than kind of looking for jobs. I hadn't really gone in any deeper. So I'm probably going to need to spend at least one day a week going back in there and seeing if there's something I can learn from it. Because I didn't really, and I think a lot of these sites, when they first came out, they've really ramped up the educational side of things instead of just being a job search thing. They're actually doing like the resume building and the assessments and stuff like that. I think both Monsters and Indeed, if I recall. I can't remember what the other ones are. I mean, there's other sites out there.
Yeah.
There's
How
other
about you,
Yes.
Katrina?
It was very useful because the format in which they make your resume into, it's great because it gets to your bullet points. Then how it lists all your capabilities in another listing, and that made it a lot easier. And like Mark just said, the assessments that you could take along with it, and it tells you what assessments that you could take based on your experiences and such. So that really helps. So it's a good it's a good feature, and it's something that's very helpful. And it's
Okay.
really helpful for the elderly. Put it like that.
Huh.
People of age. It really does help us a lot because we missed so much. Computer is not what it used to be for us, and so that's why we have a little bit of misunderstanding a lot of times. Except when you're like Mark and you're in IT, but if you're like me, then you just don't know. But at least it's learnable. That's the best part. It's learnable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I will
surprised a
intimidate you.
little bit about all the stuff that Google Drive and Docs and Sheets and all that. I have
Hmm.
my siblings have used some of that
Mhm.
and talked about it. I haven't really had it used in like a work environment. I know that some other people are using it a lot more because it doesn't cost as much as Office and stuff. Although Offices seem to be like the standard tool for whomever. So Microsoft loves that. But yeah, just trying to understand the little nuances that are a little bit different. There's a lot that's similar, but there's a few little nuances that are different.
Right.
And you know,
And
uh,
now I'll be able to show my kids, my grandkids. See, now they'll be able to see grandma and my kids will be able to say, "Mom, you know how to do that?" Yeah, I sure do. So that's going to be amazing to them. They're going to be surprised.
So
well,
let me ask you this: if because it is a time commitment, it's 2 weeks. So if someone came to you and said, Should I take this 2-week course? What would you tell them?
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
I would
Especially,
say it would be
yes.
an investment worth the 2 weeks,
It really
and
will.
they would find benefits from it after being involved in it. Now,
Mhm.
uh, I don't know what the qualifications, things, and stuff are, but I would definitely suggest it. Like I said, there's people I know that have been in a job search or still they're definitely, even though they're working with this nonprofit I've worked with in the past, they might need this more formal instruction to kind of get them through. And I think it's something I needed. It was a little more formal instruction because
Mhm.
that's like, oh, I should be able to do this on my own, I'm educated
Uh,
enough, all that kind of stuff. But to have somebody, kind of force you to kind of think about things and ask questions instead of just like, well, I can do this. That's what I think benefited me the most. And sometimes um, you don't realize you need that until you're actually in it. And that's what a lot of people probably say, well, why do I need to go to this 2-week course? Well, you'll find out when you take it.
you will.
Why
I
you
mean,
need it. Okay.
you will.
And and uh, a part of what we had before was that formal one-on-one kind of training, and I think that was more beneficial than kind of what's happening now because it's become more virtual now. But being able to be in a classroom setting with not just yourself but other people going through the same thing, they have different ideas of how they want their search to go, different ideas of what's important to them in their search. Some of it might be salary, some of it might be culture and the environment they go in. Some might be going into a whole totally new different industry. So how do I get into that industry? All that kind of stuff. So those are the type of things where when you were in a formal setting, you can talk with someone like Victor who has experience talking to all kinds of people. It's like, well, I'm really looking into this. What do you think I need to do in terms of potential educational things? Or he can refer us to Marty or whomever else is there at Goodwill and say, here's what you need to do. You probably want to take these assessments, or you might want to get enrolled in this additional course that can help you get there. Or we have ways of finding, grants or funding to make it easier for you to take those kind of training to whatever. So those are the things I think not only taking this course, but having Goodwill as a resource would help you, because once you get through it, they might be able to plug you into some other training that they can offer for you. It's not going to cost you anything or very minimal amount. And then you get the skills you want a little faster than you trying to figure it out on your own. So
And don't
there's like a dual thing there. So
and don't be afraid. If you're older, don't be afraid.
yeah,
It's not here to hurt you, and it's not going to intimidate you. And it makes you just think, because as older people, we get set in our ways. We do, and we're scared to try something different, or we feel like we're going to fail at it, or we're not going to be able to grasp it, and then so we shy away from that. But don't. This boot camp has been one of the best, and I will make sure that I'm going to be a spokesperson to let others know it is well worth it. It is. It is above and beyond.
Well, thank you both very much. If you are interested in finding out more about our career boot camp or any of the other courses that we offer or training that we offer, just contact us at down here, down below,
okay,
wfd@gwcols.com or 614-966-9283, and a career facilitator or career counselor will be just happy to talk to you, and we can help you in your career. I'd like to congratulate Katrina and Mark, and I'd like to tell you this was a lot of fun. Working with
Thank
you
you.
these
Thank
last
you.
2 weeks is
It
a
was a
lot of
lot of fun to me. It was a lot of fun. Yes, thank
very
you.
very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
Yes, very
Thank you
enjoyable.
so much.
Thank you
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you.